What's going on, bro?
What's
How you feeling today,
up?
man? How are you?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. Sending positive vibes to our brother G right now, who's doing his Malavia Washington thing, trying to get his tennis on. Is it a tournament, right?
I feel like I feel like it is a tournament, and I feel like at this age, I don't know. Don't know that
Well,
I don't.
G's younger than us, so
Yeah. A little bit, not much,
little
a
bit.
little bit. But I don't know. I don't know. But shout out to him. How
Shout
how
out to
how are
G.
you, man? How you showing up today? How you
I,
feeling?
I'm feeling good. I was traveling all week. I got to spend some time in Chicago this week with my Chicago team and do all the great things Chicago, and so I'm feeling good from being with the team. Right, they give me energy because of their passion for the work that we do.
Yeah, and so folks that don't know, my guy here is a CEO of a of a nonprofit, and why they just think that we just come and kick it every day, and they don't really know our real lives and stuff. But I wanted to kind of talk to you today because you just made a power move, bro. You just expanded to the D. You just
To the
expanded to
D,
Detroit, bro. And so
Detroit.
I want you to kind of talk us through that, walk us through like what you do, so these people know that this lunch break that they're getting is worth money.
It's worth money. I don't know if it's worth money, but I feel you. I feel you. So I have the honor and privilege of working at and helping to lead an organization called Bottom Line. We are founded on the idea that a bachelor's degree, manageable debt, and a great first job can be the differentiator for students who come from low-income communities, who come from first-generation college backgrounds, who come from communities of color. And so we provide one-on-one advising to students from their senior year of high school through graduation to help them get into college, graduate, and successfully launch a career. We were started with 25 students, over 27 years ago in Boston. And now we have sites in Boston, New York, Chicago. We just opened up in the Dayton, Cincinnati area. We'll have our first incoming class. And we announced earlier this week that this time next year, we'll be serving students in Detroit, our fifth city. And so
Bro, that's so I want to stop you, right? Because like just thinking about getting through college with manageable debt is something that everybody America needs to hear this, because this needs to be something that's happening in every city across the United States, because there's so many people that go through the college experience and they come out with this insurmountable debt and they're paying it back for the rest of their lives. Shout out to the Biden and Harris administration for creating some avenues and pathways in order for folks to kind of relieve that debt. I know that there's a lot of folks that don't necessarily incur that debt, then you should pay for it. But shout out to them for understanding that historically marginalized people are not given the same pathways to wealth as others, and creating this avenue is an extremely important thing, and I appreciate them for doing so.
Yeah, and I think the best way to address the debt crisis in the future is not to have students go into crazy debt in the first place, right? Let's do that. And so the average bottom line student is graduating with about $18,500 worth of debt.
Bro, that's manageable. I would have paid that back.
Yeah, he said I would have paid that back.
No, because I know some people. I'm not gonna call no names. That went to Yale and went to all the fancy schools that have said straight up, I'm not paying this shit back, and I will die with this debt. I don't want to call no names out.
Yeah, they can come after my estate when I'm gone.
And I feel it. I feel it, bro. I feel it. That's not me, but I feel it. So let's jump in, man. We ain't got Graham here today hindering us, so we can have some Republican talk today
with his AOL dial-up trying to jump in.
Yo, so bro, so this guy has not been on brand at all, right? So like every press conference every presser that he's had has been some type of grievance some type of conversation with regards to who's black, who's Indian, who's this, who's that. Like he cannot stay focused at all. And so, what would it look like, or what advice would you give to him or his campaign in order for him to stay on topic?
I think he needs to start reading off of cue cards, and he needs teleprompters, right? I mean, I think at the end of the day, he's one of those individuals that feels really comfortable just going out and saying the thing that pops in his mind, right? And we've got real significant policy issues that need to be addressed in this country, and we need to have a real debate, right? And we can't have one side of the presidential race talking politics, talking policy, having communications around their vision for how we address some of the big issues, and have the other side with a limited view, or at least talking in slogans as to what they want to do, right? We need a real debate about where this country is headed and what we can be doing to put it on the right, to address some of the issues that we're facing and put it on a better track. And so I think if he were to be more disciplined with his message, I think he'd be a much more palatable candidate to some of those independent and swing voters that he's desperately tries to court.
Yeah, I don't feel like he's trying to court anybody. I feel like he is pandering to his base, and that's why it allows him to be so far off message, because he's not trying to bring anybody else in. He's only trying to cater to the folks that follow him. Another thing that I loathe about this about his campaign is that he touches on these points, right? And one of his sticking points right now is to challenge the intellectual abilities of other candidates. And so for Trump to sound the way that he sounds, for him to be as low energy as he is, and then for him to question the intellect of Kamala Harris is not a good stance for him. Like he doesn't say, like you. I would think that if you're doing that, then you're gonna sound like Barack Obama, right? Like you got to sound like Obama in order to be able to say Kamala is this or Kamala is that or whatever.
Yeah.
He does not. He sounds like a moron. Like,
well, I mean, I always joke around and say, listen, I'm a simple man.
Yes.
I want my chefs fat. I want my personal trainers in shape, and I want my presidents smart, right?
Yes.
Like I'm simple. That's what I'm looking for in sort of the world. And I think, he would do more by helping to demonstrate his prowess by having real conversations about policy and having real conversations about a plan to demonstrate whether or not his opponent has a lack of mental acuity or not, than just going after it, right? Calling them names, calling them dumb.
That may have worked for Biden, because the majority of this country is ageist. And that might have worked. That may have been the approach that would have worked for a Joe Biden. But this is not the approach that's going to work for a black woman. Realizing the fact that, like, if you come after her and you come after her intellectual abilities or lack thereof, right? Like, you have a certain percentage of the electorate that are going to take this and going to run with it, because they're going to be like, you're bashing a woman, right? So, like, regardless of if this is a black woman, regardless of, it is a woman. And so now women are going to personalize this message, and they're going to think like you and your vice president who's out here saying, wow, shit, y'all hate women, right? Like he's quoted as saying that women post-menopausal are meant to be grandmothers or something, right? Like his mother-in-law is an academic, bro, a high-standing, highly cited academic who helped him for 1 year while after they had it. And so to be fortunate enough to have someone come and help you for a year, bro, that's amazing, because a lot of people don't have that, right? And so for you to have that, and then for you to like refer to this woman as a postmenopausal cat lady, bro, that's not okay. That's not okay.
It's not okay. I also just think like the facts of the matter, right, are push against that narrative, right? He can say all she wants that she's not smart, right? Yeah. But anyone who looks at Harris's CV will see someone with an undergraduate degree, a graduate degree, someone with accomplished positions, someone who is who who was a DA, who was an attorney general, right? Who was a senator. Like it just, you don't like, yes, we have folks who are not intelligent and get to those roles, right?
Yes.
But usually you'll see them in those roles, in one or two of those roles. But to have such an accomplished career over
Yeah.
the years that Harris has had them, it doesn't feel true to anyone who's paying even moderate attention to the race, right? And so you want to prove that you're smarter than your opponent, jump in that debate ring, have the conversation, go at it. And so that's what I'm waiting for. Like, let's see what happens.
Regardless of regardless of whatever they're saying about her, like I've seen some dumbass senators, right? Like she ain't Tommy.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
She's not Tommy Tuberville, or she's not, right? Like so, like let's be honest here, right? Bro, the way that he's capturing her intellect, right? First of all, like let's even unpack like what dumb looks like. She went to a tier 1 university, and that happens to be an HBCU, the only HBCU that is a tier 1 R1 university, right? So like you saying that this woman is dumb, like what are you saying about the graduates of that university? It's so deeper and all encompassing, and when you make that type of argument, and then bro, well, not even just to Trump, because Trump, he feels like he's enabled in terms of insulting his political opponents. So
he doesn't feel like he is enabled. He's enabled.
Oh, he's enabled. Okay. Point taken. But for the folks that are not Trump, if you are not Trump and you are walking around and you are calling this woman dumb, I need you to look in the mirror, because 9 times out of 10, you are not smarter than her. So you are calling someone that you are not smarter than dumb. Bro, I saw a paralegal, bro. She was like, "Oh, Kamala's she's dumb." You're a fucking paralegal.
Listen, paralegals do great work. I don't want to talk about
No. Hear me out. Paralegals do amazing work. I watch Suits, and so I know.
Shout out Meghan Markle.
Shout out Meghan. But you're not a lawyer. You didn't pass the bar, right? So, like, for someone to pass a bar, regardless of if it was the first time, the second time, or whatever, right? Because, like, he's saying, oh, she didn't pass the bar the first time. Granted, no, she didn't pass the bar the first time, but only 34% of people that take the California bar pass it the first time. It is the second most difficult bar in the United States. So, if she didn't pass it the first time, cool. I'm all right with that.
Yeah, but I think this fits into their narrative, right? Like the what has happened to the Republican Party in the last 20 years has been this increasing narrative that that college is a waste of time, that that's not where smarts come from, right? That it's just a tool to make people liberal, right? And there's no value to college, and that sort of permeates. And we see increasing numbers of news articles about the value of college, and we now see more and more students saying, "Well, I don't know if that's the right thing to do." And so they have had a persistent negative tone about higher education in general, and doubtful of its merits in helping folks achieve big long life dreams. So this feels like a continuation of that narrative, right? This feels like college is useless, particularly East Coast liberal elite colleges, they're useless, and anyone who is connected to that is just dumb and wrong, right? And so this feels like a continuation of what I think is a really dangerous narrative out there, that questioning the value of a college education, and in particular, right? So I think it serves two purposes, right? It serves the yes, my opponent is dumb, and it serves the don't worry, those of you who don't have a college degree, because they're dumb and you're not, right? And so it's putting, I think he is attempting to court certain voters with that narrative, right? And it has worked in the past. I'm not going to say it's not going to work. And I'm not saying that just because you have a degree, you're brilliant, and just because you don't have a degree, you're not. What I'm saying is it's dangerous to tell people out there who are trying to pick themselves up out of poverty, how to try to pull themselves out of the situation they are, that a key mechanism for advanced social and economic mobility, a college degree, isn't worth it, or doesn't give you the smarts or talents you need to be successful in life. That's just dangerous, because the data proves the opposite.
the base that he's catering to, if you are in rural America and you dropped out of school in the 6th grade, you cannot call Kamala Harris dumb. That is just not okay. I will not stand for it. I will not. That is just not okay. I'm not good with that. So back to like focusing on these policies or whatever, right? So like if I'm him and I'm talking to the American people, I'm talking to the American people about I'm talking to the American people about the amount of money that they're spending in the grocery stores. I'm talking to the American people about the amount of money that they're spending towards rent. I'm
Right.
talking to them about the amount of money that they're spending in interest right now, right? In terms of like anything that you buy, interest rates are out of control in this country. And it's based off of us trying to keep ourselves out of a recession. What I will say about Trump is that 401k and savings plans were booming when he was in office. People can say whatever they want. They can say whatever they want. You can come at me. I'm all right. You coming at me. I
Whether or
am
not
living
whether or
proof.
not the president has any impact on those things is the
No, I
question.
didn't.
But I feel
Yeah,
you.
yeah. I'm living proof of the fact. Yeah, and to your point, some people will say that he rode the wave of a healthy economy that was handed over to him from Barack Obama. So that's an argument within itself. But when you go to the grocery store, bro,
There's more.
you're getting hit in the pocket.
Yeah, you're gonna hit in the pocket. And I think, I think we've got to sort of disentangle, right? So like what I think no one is talking about, and I think what these types of images don't do justice to is like this isn't purely about inflationary pressures, right? This isn't about pre-pandemic versus post-pandemic or end days pandemic, whatever you want to call it. What we are talking about is, a pandemic drove inflation, and then corporations realized that they can increase prices and people are still going to pay them.
Yeah.
And so what we're seeing right now are record revenue,
Yeah.
right, happening. We see, big CEOs getting these huge bonuses. We see stock prices for the most part continuing to rise, right? This is weird because it doesn't feel like the typical case of when we have inflation connected to recessionary pressures, right? Because other aspects of our economy are booming, and then we're seeing these sort of price increases. And I think what's really at root here, right, is sort of pure greed on the case of for-profit corporations. And listen, at the end of the day, we are all living in a capitalist society. So I'm not here throwing shade at capitalism. What I will say is, like, we can't sit back and say this is a function of government spending or this is a function of unchecked inflation. This is a function of the way the system was intended to work, and prices are going to be what people are willing to pay. That's the way capitalism works.
Yeah. So I want to make this clear, right? Because like for a lot of us folks that are on the side that we're on, that are willing to come over to the Democratic side just to make common sense and for us to get past and have a post-Trump society, we would benefit immensely under a Trump presidency. And so don't get it twisted. Like either way,
economically, yeah.
Yeah, economically, yes, but like morally and like based off of just my moral core, it doesn't allow me to do that. But if he wins, like I'm gonna be good. Like you're gonna be good.
You may never vote again, but you'll be economically fine.
Yeah, no, definitely won't be able. But, hey, listen. So when the election occurs, I'll be in the UK, and so I might not come back. I might send for the fam, and we just go ahead and just ride this thing out for 4 years.
Yeah. You have to send for your whole Peloton room, yeah. Perhaps.
But man, all right. So he did put out 20 core promises. 20 core promises to make America great again, which is overly compelling for me because I don't remember a time for Black people or for Latino people that America was ever great. And so, but I don't want to focus on that. We're gonna, whatever. We can spend a whole show doing that. So his first thing, and I don't know if we'll get to all 20, another part two of this, is that seal the border and stop the migrant invasion. So I'm not necessarily opposed to the first thing, But I feel like when you're talking about a migrant invasion, it's dehumanizing people, right?
Yeah.
And it could be done with so much more care, to where people could it could be palatable for people to kind of take in.
I don't think he wants this. I don't. And so this all falls apart in the first one for me because we
Okay.
had a deal to secure our border. We had a
Yes.
deal to deal with illegal and legal immigration. It was bipartisan, right? It
Yeah.
was the Republican senator who led it is not one of my favorite Republican senators of all time, right? And
Yeah.
so we had what was a hard fought deal,
Yeah.
which he torpedoed.
Yeah.
So because he wanted to be able to put this at the top of his list for everyone who's afraid of the quote unquote brown hordes coming
Yeah.
across the border. And so
Bad
like,
hombres.
yeah. This for me is like, I call bullshit, right? Because he
Yeah.
doesn't want this. What he
Yeah.
wants is the issue as long as he can have the issue. Because he was also president for a long
Yeah.
time and we didn't have a new immigration and border deal,
At
right?
all.
Like that didn't happen, right?
Mhm.
And so this is
And
just,
folks were still getting in here. Folks were still getting in here when he was president. So if
yeah.
we're gonna keeping it funky, people were still getting in here when he was president.
Right. And so like this is meant to just dehumanize folks who
Yeah.
are looking for a better life and to have the issue. I don't think he's serious about it. It's just the issue he wants more than anything else. I don't think he's interested in a solution because if he was, we would have had a solution a year ago.
Yeah. So the second thing is carry out the largest deportation operation in American history. Again, I think that there should be a legal pathway for you to be here and remain in the country like most other people. Like honestly, when I talk to you, not necessarily you, but when I talk to like my other Latino friends, bro, that are here legally and like have like everything in order in terms of the citizenship, bro, they are pissed at the fact that people are getting into the country and are getting like all these resources that was never afforded to them. Like they're actually upset about this.
Yeah. No, I think there are folks who are upset about that. Look, I think the reality is that we need a clear pathway to citizenship for folks who want to be here and become citizens, and we've got to figure out what that is. And we have to have a policy where if folks come here and they commit crimes and they do illegal stuff, that they should be deported. Like I don't think anyone would disagree with that. But I think to have a draconian deportation process without a matching clear policy for how folks who want to come here and do great and who families have been here for years and are contributing to society, are contributing to the tax base in all the ways that immigrants contribute to the tax base, right? To then just basically say, no, sorry, you have to get on because you're the wrong skin color or because you came through illegally. What is our pathway to citizenship for folks who are just looking for a better life? Because honestly, when most of the folks who are in Congress, when their families came to this country, nobody was shutting them out and deporting them. They were coming in, right?
Yeah.
We needed them to come in to fill up this country. And so it just feels inauthentic to talk about one side of this policy, not the other. Again, I want to have a policy conversation. I don't want at the presidential level, not platitudes and false promises.
Yeah. End inflation and make America affordable again. We talked about this before, so we can kind of gloss over this.
I just want to know who's not trying to end inflation. Like, that's what makes me laugh.
Give me some of that inflation. I want that. Like what?
I love me some inflation. Give it to
me. Make America the dominant energy producer in the world by far. Okay, so this is kind of like a strike towards electric EV vehicles, I think.
This is about more drilling, more fracking. That's what this is.
I don't think that necessarily makes us great.
No,
I think it's an environmental nightmare for us to continue fracking and doing all these sorts of things, right? So, like, I think that we need to have policy conversations centered around what is going to move America forward. That's going to make it a gracious place for our grandkids, right? So like we can't be thinking about the here and now. We got to be thinking about the future when we're talking about environmental risks.
Yeah, we need to be energy independent, right? So like, let's take away. So I agree with you on the environment stuff, but take away the environment stuff. The fact that we put all of our stock in a fuel source, right, that is finite means that only means that the price of those goods are going to increase and the cost to us, the consumer, is only going to increase, right? Whereas on the renewable side, those prices keep coming down, right? Wind energy, solar energy, right? Those prices keep coming down because it becomes cheaper and cheaper to produce that energy. Yes, it's more expensive in some cases now than oil, but what it means is, like, listen, we're not going to run out of solar energy till we run out of the sun. And then
Yeah.
we've got bigger problems than energy.
Yeah. Facts. Yeah. That's true. Yeah.
Right. And so, like, it just makes good business sense
Yeah.
to think about renewables and not think about things that are scarce and, you know, we're going to end up costing a lot of money in the future.
Yeah. Stop outsourcing and turning the United States into a manufacturing superpower. I don't disagree with that. I don't like how many things have been outsourced overseas. I think that a lot of jobs, a lot of union jobs, have been taken away from cities, and you've seen how taking a factory away can decimate a city. You see it with Detroit. You probably see it with some of these cities that in Ohio.
Yeah.
So yeah, bring that back. I'm good with that.
I'm good with that too. And I just think it's funny that, you know, we're not talking about, and he doesn't talk about, like, these are anti-capitalistic. That's an anti-capitalistic frame, right? Because capitalism would say to you, no, you know, you don't have to worry about outsourcing. You want the cost of goods to be low. And so outsourcing is just a component of capitalism, right? And so, like, it's interesting to hear the from the party that was always like pro-capitalism and leave, you know, industry alone, to be seeing these overtly anti-capitalist policies is ironic, to say the least, right? That what we're saying is that we want to control the way business operates.
Yeah. Large tax cuts for workers and no tax on tips. Bro, listen, I don't know
I'll
why.
take a tax cut. I'll take.
Listen, I will take a tax cut too. I pay a whole hell of a lot of money in these taxes, and then also if I didn't have to pay taxes on tips, I would go get a waiter job, because I know some waiters that be out here caking. I'm telling you, like, I know people that are like certified educators that work like that 10 bar, and they make more money tending bar than they do teaching in the classroom. So listen, I'm not about to deal with these attitudes coming from.
What I want is someone to set a policy about the folks who ask for tips who didn't do stuff that's tip worthy, right? You said the cash register,
That's another show.
They spin the iPad around, and you're like, homie, you didn't do anything. Why am I tipping you?
Oh,
So
yeah, I'm 100%.
If I have to order standing up, and if my food comes in its own paper bag, you're not getting a tip. I'm sorry, it's not working.
Yeah, bro, you got to stand on business. Hey, listen, I respect it. That's standing on business right there. Like, everybody, everything you do, like, you type it in my order does not require me giving you a tip. That's crazy. So the next is defend our Constitution, our Bill of Rights, and our fundamental freedoms, including freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and the right to bear arms. Bro, that's a white nationalist pitch.
He skipped freedom of press, ironically.
You see him? Prevent World War III, restore peace in Europe and in the Middle East, and build a great Iron Dome missile defense shield over our entire country, all made in America.
You ever seen that meme of that dude like licking his lips and doing this? That's right now. That's the military industrial complex right now. When they see that, they're like, give me money.
Wow. We might get the 10 in the weaponization of government against the American people. No, government against your ass, bro. That's just, and you already got immunity. You could have took this one out. All right, so I feel like Biggie. I feel like this is Biggie, the 10 crack commandments, bro. Because number 10 could have been number 1 to me.
That's right.
Number 10, it says, stop the migrant crime epidemic, demolish the foreign drug cartels, crush gang violence, and lock up violent offenders. So I don't know where you come from on this, but like, I'm one of those Republicans that's like tough on crime, and so I'm all right with bro, I'm good with people getting locked up for doing dumb shit.
I'm fine with it too, as long as we have matching policies. Like, my issue is that we've got to sort of match our our policing policies to also reform policies as well, right? And so if someone is committing crime because they have a mental incapacity, because there's a mental issue there, they should get the right services for that, right? If poverty is at cost, so we need to, so like I think it's a yes, and I don't think nobody was like, oh yeah, give me more crime. I love crime. Just give, right? Maybe the criminals, but nobody's like, give me more crime. I love crime. Nobody said that.
Final thoughts, bro, on you.
Listen, I'm feeling good. It's Friday. I'm really thankful for the people I get to work with on a daily basis. They are amazing leaders. For those of you who work in this education world that we all work in, keep your head up, stay joyful, stay laughing. It's hard work, but it's worth it. It's hard work and hard work. So keep your head up. This work is serious.
Yeah. So my final thoughts are for you school leaders. If you are in New York State, then you know that embargo data was released. And so although I cannot talk about that data right now, just know that in a couple weeks, months, years, whenever this data is released, I'm gonna be talking shit with my chest out. You just better know it. I'm gonna be what? It's about to get crazy. So if your kids can't read, I'm coming for you. Oh my God, I'm coming for you. So
they're gonna be like PowerPoint presentations, like moving dynamics.
Hey, I'm about to get AI visualization. It's about to be crazy. All right, folks, we'll see you next week.